Alright, film debris. Hey, today we're doing duos.
Yeah, Shaq and Kobe.
Well, no. We're doing comedic duos in movies.
Like Batman and Robin.
No, we're doing the actors, comedic actors in movies, duo actors.
Like Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, they're not real, but yeah. Coming right back at you.
Ha! And my first pick would have to be Step Brother. What?
I'm going first.
What? Serious?
Alright, the first pick I'm going to talk about is Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. You got Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Very funny duo. They're in, I think they're in Paul together. They're from across the pond, as they say. If you've seen Shaun of the Dead, it's like a comedic, one of the first comedic zombie-ish movies. You got the environment of the cold, foggy area over there in London, or whatever city they're in particular. But they have some of the bar scenes that are funny, and they're just beating up zombies. And Hot Fuzz are very funny in that too. But I'm talking about Shaun of the Dead. There's the one part where they have that Queen song playing when they're just beating the guy over the head with the cricket bats, I think it is. It's very funny. If you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead, you should see Shaun of the Dead. I think it was directed by the same guy who directed Zombieland. But this is like the British kind. They're not the same movie. They're different kinds of movies, but they're both like zombie comedies. Very funny. Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead. First pick.
Okay, now I get my pick. My first pick would be Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Step Brothers. No, I wasn't going to say Talladega Nights, but Step Brothers. Step Brothers was a hilarious movie. Man, these two are just crazy. It's about two early 40 guys. Their parents end up hooking up, getting married. They become stepbrothers. Then that's when the fight starts. They're just hilarious and fighting against each other and whatnot. And somehow they become best friends, and everything just changes. The movie changes, and it just becomes even more funny. There's just a bunch of one-liners in that movie. Quote it all day. You're missing out if you haven't seen Step Brothers. You should really go check it out. My first pick.
My number 3 would be Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson in Wedding Crashers. Wedding Crashers, if you've seen Wedding Crashers and you didn't think that these two gentlemen worked perfectly together, it's like they shared the same brain. They would make all the jokes and just work. Okay, like in the scene where they're at a wedding and the guy's eating his cake and Vince Vaughn keeps eating Owen Wilson's cake, and Owen Wilson never really says anything. It's all in his face. He just kind of does.
That's the bite, right? That's the bite. That's the one. I'm telling you, that's the one. I would, but you'll find another one.
The whole time he's eating this guy's cake, it's phenomenal, and that's what he throws around in the movie the whole time. It's phenomenal. Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Christopher Walken, Isla Fisher, Rachel McAdams, Kitty Cat. I'm not even gonna say her name. Her name is Kitty Cat. That's what she wanted to be called, and that's what I'll call her. My number 3 pick would be 2005's Wedding Crashers.
How's it going, guys? Real quick, we just got a list in of people that have been watching all over the world, so just want to name that list. Mexico, Australia, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Singapore, Estonia, Kenya, Argentina, Kuwait, Jordan, the Philippines, Jordan, Russia, and Oman. Who would have thought these people are checking out our show from all over the world like that? But that's pretty cool. This list right here. Don't forget to subscribe right here. Go in this, press the little button right here, and check out our other material. We got heist movies coming out next week, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, Film Debris, we're here. Follow us on Twitter. Back to the show.
Alright, my next picks are kind of a tie, but it's the same actors in both movies. It's Woody Allen and Diane Keaton in Annie Hall and Love and Death. There's a difference between the two movies, but in a more deeper sense, they're both kind of the same type of thing, where they're both philosophical type of movies. Annie Hall more going to the romantic comedy way, and Love and Death more going into the comedy romance type of thing. But Annie Hall, very funny. It uses every kind of well, not every kind, but it uses lots of different kinds of filming, and there's a lot of ideas, a lot of fourth wall things, or he talks straight to the camera and he tells you what kind of person he is and stuff like that, and he's standing in line for a movie, and there's a guy behind him talking about some other movie, and how he thinks it was not done this well, or what he would have done to it, and Woody Allen's just like, I can't believe I have to listen to this guy behind me, and he walks over and he pulls out the actual director of that movie, and he says, what do you tell him, what you think about the movie, and he says, you don't know anything about my movie that I made, and the guy is like, he's a professor and he teaches about movies, but he got the actual director there. It's just a lot of funny things like that where, things that wouldn't work out in real life, but he even says to you, don't you wish real life worked out like this? And then you got Love and Death. It's also very philosophical. It's just interesting hearing the things they talk about. I think it takes place in Russia, and he's a soldier, and he doesn't want to die, but he loves this woman. They're very funny together. They have a great pacing, great timing together. Woody Allen has the thing where Woody Allen is Woody Allen, and Diane Keaton is one of the best matchups he's had, because he's likes to work with certain actresses and try to get certain, what's the word? I get a reaction on chemistry. He likes to have work with certain actresses many times, sometimes, and he also tries to work with their chemistry and try to get their timings all right. And Diane Keaton and Woody Allen worked very well together. My number 2 pick for comedy duos.
And my next pick, Rob Schneider, Adam Sandler. Which movie is it? Big Daddy. I mean, Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler are probably in like every movie together, but today it's all about Big Daddy. It's about Adam Sandler. He takes on the role of being a dad and becoming like a foster parent in a sense, taking over for his friend, covering up his junk or whatever, and he just takes on this little boy, and Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler go through and try to teach this kid before he goes to preschool or kindergarten or whatever. And there's a funny part where Rob Schneider's reading the flashcards and it's like fish, pony, and he can't even spell or pronounce hippopotamus. I can't even say it. And it's just hilarious. It's just funny how Rob Schneider was just like this bum delivery boy that just always chilled at Adam Sandler's house, and they just were kicking it all day, the Kangaroo song, and all this stuff, and Frankenstein was just hilarious in himself. But anyways, you should really check out Big Daddy, Rob Schneider, Adam Sandler, Scuba Steve.
And my number 2 pick would be Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This is Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, which is the director of the movie, by the way. Their dynamic duo relationship. And, I mean, Jay and Silent Bob have become, how do you put it? They are characters in their own. They branch from different stories. I mean, most of Kevin Smith's movies. I mean, they were in Clerks, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob. They were in Dogma. They did a cameo in Dogma. So, they go just beyond this movie. I mean, they're like the dynamic duo in life. This movie had an all-star cast. It had Ali Larter, Ben Affleck, Chris Rock, Eliza Dushku. Come on, man. The whole point of this movie is these Jay and Silent Bob, there was a comic made about them. It was Blunt Man and Chronic. And their whole point was people were writing about this movie, the Blunt Man and Chronic movie, on the internet. They were talking trash, but they weren't talking about the movie Blunt Man and Chronic. They were talking about Jay and Silent Bob. They used their names. So the whole movie was basically about Jay and Silent Bob stopping this Blunt Man and Chronic movie from being made, and then going to kick all the people's asses who were talking trash about them on the internet, because why else are people on the internet other than watch porn and talk trash about each other? That's what Ben Affleck says in the movie. And I abide by that. I think that's true.
And film debris.
Shout out to film debris.
Hi. My final pick, Wayne's World. Mike Myers, Dana Carvey. This is before Mike Myers became a super mega star with Austin Powers and that Love Guru. And this was before Dana Carvey sunk into wherever he went. still very funny. It was funny when they were doing it on the Saturday Night Live show, and it's funny when they did it in the movie. One of the best adaptations of a sketch into a movie was Wayne's World. One of my favorite cameos in Wayne's World is Ed O'Neill as the guy who works at the diner. He only has like 1 or 2 scenes in each of the movies, but I think those scenes are some of the funniest scenes in the movie. There's some great scenes in it. There's, in the beginning when they're singing in the car, and there's a part where they're talking about advertising, and he says, "I just can't take it anymore. I have a headache," and he gives him this little yellow pill, and they talk about corporations, and he's wearing the Nike things like that and all that stuff. There's some things they did in here that just wouldn't work for a lot of movies, especially like the ending where they give you like 3 different endings or something, and they try different endings to the movie that they're in. Very funny. Wayne's World is an all-time American classic, I say. And it's my number 1 pick. Comedy duos. Wayne's World.
And my top pick, all-time favorite, Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2. Hilarious duo with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Who would have knew Jackie Chan would have been such a hilarious person to work with? Oh my gosh, these guys are just funny. Chris Tucker by himself could carry it, but without Jackie Chan, it would just not make it as funny. Jackie Chan has a big role in it. I mean, there's just line after line after line. I can quote that movie all day if you want me. Both of them, 1 and 2. I couldn't pick which one was better, one of the 2. The third one, not so much. It was okay. But number 1 and 2, they were just hilarious. I mean, just like the whole scene where he's trying to show him how to hold the gun, and they're singing War, and just like on number 2 when they're over there getting the massage and whatnot. It's just, I mean, I can go on for days with Rush Hour 1 and 2. Just classic movie with those 2. Definitely my top pick. Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker. Bam.
My number 1 pick for the dynamic duo comedy couple guys would be Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell in The Other Guys. Samuel L. Jackson and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I mean, even though we get rid of those 2 guys in like the first 10 minutes of the movie, it was still carried on. I didn't think I would like it at first, but as I kept watching it, it was more and more funny. I mean, Gator needs his gat, bitch. Like, come on, that is a dry humor joke right there. He turned out to be a pimp. He was like, no, that's not what it was. He was like, no, basically you're a pimp. You were a pimp. So, I like this movie. It was funny because Will Ferrell, no matter what you see him in, either he's really smart and that makes him funny, or he's really, really stupid. And that also makes him funny because that's how I would just normally like to see him in all of his movies. I mean, either he's stripping naked or he's just doing some real funny screaming in someone's face. It's like right here. Can you see that? Like that close, and he's like screaming in your face. That's funny. But basically in this movie, they are the like C-level cops. Like no one really cares about them. They're nobodies. They're the other guys. And the 2-star cops, they die, and someone needs to fill that hole. Someone needs to fill that void. And they have to be the ones. I mean, this movie is a trial and error the whole time with all of their jokes and all of the situations they go through, but it's funny. It's real funny. Michael Keaton is actually their lieutenant, and he's funny. I mean, he's like the chief at the police department, but then he has a part-time job at Bed Bath & Beyond or Body Works, and that's funny. Bed Bath & Beyond. So he's giving his speech to like his workers, like, oh, this is what we have to do, and then he's like, oh, also there's a serial rapist out in Crown Heights. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's for my other job. Don't worry about that. We'll worry about that if you live in Crown Heights. And that's funny. That's funny. Will Ferrell pulls out a gun, and Mark Wahlberg's just like, dude, it's made of wood. What are you going to do? Then he smacks him in the face with it. This movie was actually directed by Adam McKay, and word on the street is he directs a lot of Will Ferrell movies. So, I mean, it's good that once you find something that works for you, that you stick with it, so that, I like the movies that Will Ferrell's in. I think the pacing in this movie also was very consistent. I mean, it only died off at one point to me, but at the same time, it was just going at the same pace, and it was funny. I mean, it was action in there, actually. Not just a comedy movie, it was an action movie. So my number one pick would have to be the other guys, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, listen up. For those of you who haven't subscribed, subscribe to Film Debris. Follow us on
All right,
Twitter.
my number one pick.
Hey, wait, you already did yours. Episode's over. That's rude. Anyways, subscribe. It's very important that you subscribe to us. Follow our other videos. Check them out. Retweet them. Tweet us. We want to hit...
All right, my top pick.
Okay. You got your top pick. Wayne's World. We got it.
Wayne's World.
We got it.
Wayne's World.
Party time. Excellent. Yes. Anyways, follow us. We're out of here. Peace.